Welcome back. Well, we send them to war to fight for our country with the promise of our full support when they return home. But many veterans say that support just isn't there. For the past 2 weeks, we have asked Canada's Veterans Affairs Minister Julian Fantino to join us for a discussion. He has been unavailable. So joining me now is Conservative MP Erin O'Toole, a veteran himself. How on earth did things get so bad between your government and the veterans of this country?
Well, I think, Tom, Veterans Affairs has been going through transformative change. You know, 30 years ago, and even when I was in the military, Veterans Affairs was mainly about commemoration. The World War II veterans were in their mid-60s. Canada hadn't been in a combat mission for decades. Post-Afghanistan, that changed. We had some serious casualties. We had some deaths, as you know. So Veterans Affairs has had to transform to serve veterans who are now the World War II in their 90s, and younger Afghan veterans, combat veterans with catastrophic injuries.
Forgive me for interrupting, but in the process of this transformation that you're talking about, it went pear-shaped on you. I mean, I have never seen a government file so badly mishandled as the Veterans Affairs file. I'm just wondering, how did you allow, because this is your natural constituency. The military, the veterans, they've always been on your side. They're not anymore. And they're angry at you. They're mad at you. How did you allow that to happen?
Well, the vast majority, Tom, of veterans that I speak to are actually quite happy with their service from Veterans Affairs Canada. What we have to do is address anyone that's falling through the cracks or rising areas of new need, like mental health. When I was in the military, there were no operational stress injury clinics, zero. We've opened 14 and are going to be going to as many as 25 clinics. This has all been done in the last decade because we're starting to deal with post-traumatic stress better, but the Auditor General shows us we have some work to do. We're committed to make sure that we're meeting that growing need. So this is about not doing things the way they were done in the 1950s and 60s. It's adapting, and I think we have to communicate it better. Clearly, after the last few weeks, people haven't understood
Do you think that's the major problem, is just communication? I mean, you're spending an awful lot of money on advertising. In fact, you're spending more on advertising than you are, in many cases, in the frontline service. Your advertising budget is through the roof. Do you think it's just a matter of communication, or do you think it's a matter of actually what you do?
I think it's a bit of both, Tom. You know, we had the story about the estimates. We weren't meeting some of our estimated spend, and then there was a lapse in some of it. Some of it was new veterans. We've provided retraining and re-education money for new veterans that's north of $10,000 per veteran. But if they're not drawing it when they leave the military, that estimate is not taken up. So that advertising is partially to tell new veterans, hey, when you're transitioning to a new job, if you need new training, if you need re-education, if you need family support, it's there for you. So you have to communicate, and I just think we need to try and do it better.
Since you came to power in 2006, Veterans Affairs has returned $1.3 billion, I believe it is, to the federal treasury. Does that indicate then that in your mind every veteran has received everything that is his or her due? That's why you can return the unspent money? You think everybody's been taken care of exactly to the penny from what they should get?
I think you got to look at this in two ways. We're spending, you know, on average about $800 million more than the previous government on veterans, but we're spending it in new ways.
Well, wait a second now. You're going back to before the Afghan war? I mean, that seems ridiculous. Let's stick with your government, because you've been here almost 10 years now. But are you saying that everybody has received every penny that they're due?
What we're saying is the estimates, when we're not meeting that estimated spend, most of those benefits are statutory. They're going to go to the veteran if they apply for them. The main reason there's been a lapse, we haven't met the estimates, are two reasons. The World War II cohort of veterans is passing away, so not as many of those are meeting that benefit. The newer Afghan veterans, not enough of them are applying for a range of benefits, so we've got to reach out to them. We've got to do mental health better. So we've got some areas we've got to improve, but I can tell you, Tom, this is a key priority for the Prime Minister, but making it a priority is not just doing things the way they were done in the 1950s. So I think we have to explain to Canadians we're meeting the needs of our traditional veterans, but we're also trying to meet the rising new needs of our young veterans. In the meantime, you've got an enormous political problem on your hands. You know that, and everybody in government knows that. Well, I think part of that's the communication part. We have to tell Canadians that this is a key priority for our government, and we've got to... You want to spend even more on advertising than you are right now? Well, I think we're learning a lot from what the Auditor General said. We're not meeting in one area, one key area, disability benefits for mental health. We're not meeting the expectations for veterans. Some of our changes will mean we have to work better to get those processing times down. Others will mean veterans need to get the service and support earlier so that they can get treatment and get better. So we've got some challenges, but I want Canadians to know it's a priority.
Aaron O'Toole, we're out of time, but thank you very much for dropping by. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.